All right, it's time again for the Don Matrick, Jack Trenton Taco Bell Memorial Podcast here on Rage Select. Hey, welcome everybody. I'm Jeff.
I'm Jason.
And Jason, I'm a little bit bummed out today.
Wow.
A little bit bummed out.
Why?
I got an email saying that we can't go to E3.
Motherfuckers.
I got an email from them saying that we're not popular enough to go to E3.
Oh, God.
So-
Is it about the whole being drunk and naked at the Bethesda booth thing? Because
I
it was
told you.
totally justified.
I told you that the Randy Pitchford slap bet, that was a joke, all right?
It was
a
very
joke.
clearly a joke, as was me telling people that I was Junji Ito. No, Hideo Kojima. That's what I said.
Ito.
Yeah,
Like
different
they
guy.
would be like, who?
Yeah. I was trying to tell people I was Hideo Kojima.
Right.
And let me see all of the things. And they didn't believe me.
You were trying to bluff your way in as Hideo Kojima?
I did a great Japanese accent.
Did you do something really racist at E3 last year, Jason? Did you tape your eyes?
Racism is in the eye of the beholder.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
That's the first I'm hearing about this.
Racist. Some would say racist. I would say fucking hilarious.
Oh, okay. Well, so here's my plan as I figure, as a website, we're apparently not as popular as we need to be to get into E3. So this next year, right, in order to get the hits to get to E3,
right,
we are going to host Spring Break in Padre. We're going to host the saddest MTV Spring Break show ever.
Two pasty white guys in the 30s.
That's right, on the beach. I'm going to need you to dress like a total douchebag. I need you to put on a mesh shirt. I need you to have a hat sideways, obviously.
Oh, God.
I need you to have...
I'm going to need suicide counseling after
mirror
this.
sunglasses, Daisy Dukes, and some Crocs. I don't know.
Oh, God.
Yeah. You're going to have to do...
You're hurting me just talking about it.
Actually, I wonder about this. Do you think, Jason, that you could bring yourself to go down to... Do you think you would want to be anywhere near Spring Break at this point in your life?
No. I would say, hey, lots of boobs to see there, but that's what the internet's for.
You got a cell phone. You can see boobs whenever you want to.
Yeah, I can look at boobs right now.
Yeah.
In fact, I might.
I lift up my shirt,
I'm going home. I am leaving.
Well, no, I was thinking about, do you think... Because I know there are people out there, we're in our mid-30s, right? I know that there are, MTV shock jocks, whatever, on the beach, whatever, that are probably around that age.
Yeah.
Spray tans and frosted hair and shit like that. So do you think that you could ever go down into that environment and bring yourself to try to get young women just as fucked up, blackout drunk as fast as possible? It just seems like a hate crime to me.
I part of me has no problem with that. The other part is very afraid of my wife. It was for work.
If you had a kid,
Allison, it was for work.
If you had a kid, would you let them go to spring break?
Fuck no.
What would you do? Okay, let's say Spider-Woman Murphy, your daughter, right?
Yeah.
She's in her teens now. She's 18 or she's 19, all right? Let's say. She's like, "Dad, I'm going to spring break." And
really?
How do you keep her there? You gonna try to chain her to the wall?
Handcuffs, yeah. Sedatives.
Black Snake Moan style?
Yeah. Wait, no. You made it weird.
I'm sorry, I did make it weird. So what you're gonna slip some, you're gonna roofie her before she goes to spring break.
Yeah. Hey, guess what? It's May. You need to go back to college. What happened? You slept a long time.
You got a plot there for a really weird horror movie where some poor woman chained up in a basement.
Father,
right.
the movie. Yeah.
Oh man.
What parent wants their daughter to go to spring break? What parent is okay with that?
Well, you know what I wonder is that I've always tried to remember over the course of my life of what it was like to be 20, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure that you still, we're not 60 or anything. You know what it was like to be 20.
Yeah.
So when you were 20, you were doing a bunch of dumb, stupid shit and getting drunk and that kind of thing.
I was.
So how could you in good conscience tell your own offspring that they can't do the same dumb shit that you did?
The only way is I don't want to fucking know. Make up a story. Just tell
Ignorance is
tell
bliss.
me something else. Just I don't want to know.
Just euphemisms. Nothing but euphemisms.
Your mom will probably say, all right, well, make sure you don't try the skank weed. Right. You want to stick with something with this consistency. And if they're going to buy you a drink, you go with Glenfiddich 18-year, okay?
Actually, I could see with
You fucking stick it to him.
I could see Allison just fucking ninjaing down there like Dexter, and like, you know, some douchey bro is hitting on Spider-Woman Murphy, and then he goes to you know, she goes to the bathroom, and then Allison comes out of a bush with Dexter, hypo, and like puts him to sleep.
I went to the bathroom and I came back, and the guy I was talking to was disemboweled.
No, he's just gone. And then
He's just gone.
Then she calls Allison on the phone. Mom, the guys keep disappearing. He's like, I don't know what to tell you, honey. Men are pigs.
Guys
you
are
know?
dickholes. I
Meanwhile,
know.
she's talking in a hotel room with a bunch of dudes duct taped to the wall and shit.
Yeah. What are we gonna do? I don't know. Call Bo. He'll know. He knows where to bury it. People.
Oh man. So I got one more question before we go into the news, because we got a lot of interesting news to talk about this week.
All right.
I was at Taco Bell last night. Mm-hmm. I saw the breakfast is on.
Really? It's on. It's there.
It's ready.
Okay.
Is your body prepared? Have you prepared your body for Taco Bell?
My body's ready. My body's fucked. So
It's like you've been practicing. You've been warming up.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, why not? Sure. You want to eat some rusty nails,
right?
And a can of lard? Do it. It's not going to hurt any worse than what you've already put us through.
What's one more little glass of gasoline on top of the fire going to do at this point? So they've got the Taco Bell. They've got the whole waffle taco thing.
Yeah, that's gross. I don't do that.
They've got like crunch wrap with eggs in it or whatever.
That sounds awesome.
Is that the one you're going to go with?
Yeah, that's what I'm going
You
with.
You got to go with the waffle taco.
I don't mix the sweet and savory. I can't do that.
It's the
like chicken and waffles. I don't do that.
But what about just like, I mean, you know, waffles without syrup on them and just kind of buttery, pancakey
it's still kind of
stuff?
sweety. Yeah, I don't do that. No.
Okay. No savory sweet for you.
Nope.
Okay. All right. Well, I expect a full report at some point.
Yeah, it's probably gonna happen this weekend.
You think so?
Probably Saturday morning.
Saturday morning.
Yeah.
You wake up on Saturday morings?
Saturday afternoon.
Okay, I was about to say, every time you tell me, every time we see each other on Saturday, you're like, yeah, we slept until 3.
Yeah.
It's like, goddamn.
Yeah, well, that's an ongoing little point of contention between Allison and myself.
Yeah.
We'll wake up at 3, and she's like, oh, you want to get some breakfast? I'm like, it's 3 in the afternoon. No, I don't want to get any fucking breakfast.
I want a steak.
She's like, it's the first meal after we woke up. It's not breakfast. It's not breakfast unless it's before noon.
I don't know. Taco Deli serves tacos until 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday, so that's the only time that I ever get a taco anymore, or a breakfast taco anymore. But.
So I found out some awesome things about Austin. I've mentioned them before, but I want to bring it up. I found out some awesome things that are important to both you and I.
All right.
Okay.
Lay it on me, bro.
There's a 24-hour taco place on South First.
Okay.
Now, that's not real important to you, but it's on my way home.
Yeah, that's
24-hour tacos.
That would generally the places that I drink.
It's not Taco Bell.
That would end up me driving to the other side of town.
It is a long way away.
Like from my house to the bar, and then add that together to get to the taco place, and then double it to get back home. No,
there is
okay.
a place, however, that Martin swears by. He vouches for it.
All right.
Barbecue.
Okay.
Open until 3 a.m.
What? Wait, what? Where?
Yep.
Where?
Sam's, East Side.
Oh, I haven't been to Sam's in a long time. I've actually been there before.
3 in the morning, dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to Sam's?
I have not.
Do you know the rundown?
Nope.
It's like some dude's living room.
Really?
Yeah, on the east side. And like when I went there one time a long time ago, and it was like they have like the shitty cafeteria trays. You know, not the ones with the divots, but just like the empty ones.
Yeah.
Just throw a piece of butcher paper on there. They just start dumping brisket.
Like you're an animal.
That's it.
Okay.
And then they give it to you. I didn't even know if there were forks when I was there, because after the first bite, I was just like, oh.
Put it all in my face hole.
Yeah. I know I've been to Sam's before. I've been there twice. And the first time,
Yeah.
it was almost the best barbecue I've ever had in my entire life.
What?
The second time, it was mediocre.
The second time, it was clearly a hobo.
Right. You're right. I don't know who was back there. But I don't know. We might have to,
on the plate.
Oh, on the plate?
Yeah.
It was hobo meat?
Yep. Little gamey.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
Are you able to differentiate between, like...
Cook it all you want. It still smells like BO and piss.
Oh, God. If you're going to be a cannibal, you want to go with top shelf 1%er rich guy, right?
You do. You want
like milk-fed.
You want somebody who's been doing paleo.
Right. And they've been working out. They do Pilates.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
All right, maybe not working out. No,
You don't want to eat like, me.
Right. Well, actually, you don't know.
That shit'll poison you.
You got a fairly decent marble on you, right? You're not like super fat.
I get a little bit of marbling.
Yeah, because you don't want somebody who's like, you don't want Schwarzenegger meat. That's going to be all like gamey and tough and stuff.
True.
You need a little bit of fat in there to marble it out. So now I kind of want to eat a person. Let's go into the news.
Hey, let's get some long pig.
All right.
Dude,
so
we gotta do that.
We didn't actually cover this story.
Just shut up for a minute.
Okay.
Which one of our Patreon subscribers wants to volunteer for Jeff and I to eat them?
if we eat them, then they can't give us money anymore.
Somebody who's contributing like 5 cents a video.
Okay, I'll go with that.
One of those guys.
I don't.
Not somebody in the higher tier.
No, we've been over this. We've been over this.
No, they're
We've
all
been over eating people before on this show. I think numerous times. I'm not going to do it.
Well, I think the fact
Unless
that
they were
we
fat
keep
grown.
coming back to it means
Yeah.
that it merits some serious consideration. Not the whole person.
Uh-huh.
We don't have to do anything gross like eat their balls or their brains.
I don't even want to eat animal balls or brains.
Well, exactly.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Maybe like a good thigh,
Uh-huh.
or some chest meat,
Some peck.
some peck,
What's a peck?
or tit.
We get a tit. Let me get a little bit of that.
Tits all fat.
Okay, let me get you some of that peck meat with a side of coleslaw, please.
Yeah,
Actually, we already established you don't like coleslaw.
that's
so.
true.
All right.
But I'll give mine to you.
All right. So, folks, we didn't have any takers on. I don't know if it's gone up yet. The video where you're asking people to donate their sperm to me or something like that.
I said that.
I think you did. I think you
Wow.
did. I think you maybe need to drink less when you were over here.
When was when was the last time you checked the mail?
It was earlier this week.
There better
I got
be
a game.
there better be sperm in
They
there.
don't know my
or our
address.
listeners have failed us.
Oh man!
Now, come on, they're creative. They can find your address.
Don't encourage
I'll
them to
give
find
it to
my.
them.
No,
Just
nope.
email.
Nope.
Hit me up on Facebook. I'll give you Jeff's address. You send him some jizz.
Nope. All right, folks, let's get on to the news because there's plenty of it today. So we didn't cover this story a few weeks ago, but Amy Hennig left Naughty Dog. She was the creative director on Uncharted 1, 2, and 3, right?
Yeah,
The writer.
That's good.
But she has this week joined Visceral Games as the creative director for the new Star Wars game that they're making over there.
Fuck her. That's my job.
What? No, not fuck her. She wrote Nathan Drake. Can you imagine the person who wrote Nathan Drake writing Han Solo? It would be perfect, right?
Okay, that's pretty good. But I want that job.
Well,
But I guess she can have it.
I'm sorry. Did you apply last week and then you didn't tell me anything about it?
But
or-
I would think that all the hard work and creativity that I've expressed here at Rage Select,
Right.
someone should say, hey, you know what? Jason needs to be creative director of Star Wars properties for whatever.
I like the fact this mental image of the EA, the Visceral boardroom, with these guys sitting around like, all right, who should we bring on to be the creative director of this new Star Wars game? Well, I don't know. See, J.J. Abrams is doing the film. Yeah, I don't know. What about Ken Levine? I don't know. That guy's kind of flaky. He's like, hey, you know what? I was watching the internet the other day, and I saw this puppet that wouldn't stop talking about his dick.
Yeah.
And he said he was a fan of Star Wars. He even said he was a fan of the prequels. I think
Yeah.
we should cold call that guy.
How many people can say that?
and have him come out.
Yeah. I'm on Twitter. Come on.
But
Visceral.
I think okay, so let's go down the list real fast. Has there ever been like a really, really good? What's the best Star Wars game that's ever been out? KOTOR? Say KOTOR? TIE Fighter?
TIE Fighter 2.
Jedi Knight. I'm trying to think of the good ones.
Jedi Knight 2.
Jedi Knight 2.
Jedi Knight 2 was
Jedi Outcast.
fucking awesome. Yeah. Jedi Knight 2, TIE Fighter 2, KOTOR.
Wait, there was no TIE Fighter 2.
There was not a TIE Fighter 2?
No, it was TIE Fighter. There was a TIE Fighter expansion, and there was
not a. Are you
X-Wing
sure?
versus TIE Fighter.
There was not a TIE Fighter 2.
I'll look it up, but I'm pretty goddamn sure.
Oh, you're right. No, you're absolutely right. Fuck.
Okay.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah,
Rebel
TIE
Assault,
Fighter. God,
Rogue
yeah.
Squadron,
Jesus.
but yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think there's ever been a TIE Fighter.
No. Some of the Rogue Squadron games.
Yeah.
Rogue Leader.
Okay, so
was good.
there's a fair amount of them in there that are pretty
there are more
decent.
bad ones than there are good ones.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's kind of where I fell on it. But I think this is great. I think that if they're finally throwing some real talent behind a Star Wars game, that it could be good.
Shadows of the. No, I can't even say that.
Shadows of the Empire
with a straight face.
Dash
Yeah, that was-
Rendar.
Oh God, the faux solo.
Yep, faux solo. So yeah, I think this is a really good move, and I think that like I was a little bit about Uncharted 3, but it was still a good game. It was
a great
in comparison to Uncharted 1 and 2 that I felt like it was a little bit
great games.
So I think that if especially if we had a Star Wars game that had the original trilogy characters, right?
yeah,
Like, can you
we haven't
imagine?
really had many of those at all.
Can you imagine if they were to do like a Nathan Drake, Chloe kind of like that sort of relationship with a Han and Leia and Luke?
Man,
like it'd be really good,
I'm
right?
going to tell you this right now. I don't want
Yeah.
you to take it the wrong way, but you're making my dick really hard right now.
I know, but we have to talk about these things on the show. There's actually even a story here that I brought up that kind of ties into this, where it was a quote from EA in an interview with Fortune, where Andrew Wilson, CEO of EA.
Okay, I was
right,
like,
yeah.
wait, what?
Yeah. He had this quote that I felt tied into this story that I think is really good. What Warner Brothers did with Batman was take the core roots of that IP and manifest that inside the walls of Gotham City and delivered an interactive experience that had real ties to what you would see in the films and what you had read in the comics, while having its own life because it could provide such deep and more immersive storylines. When we look at Star Wars properties, that's how we're looking at them. We're not trying to build a game that replicates the storyline of any particular film.
Cool.
Awesome. I
Although
think the fact that
okay, go ahead.
I mean, Amy Hennig plus this amount of freedom
Yeah.
and an idea that they're not going to be slavish or throw this at a studio that's going to... I mean, Visceral Games is not a shitbox studio anyway.
Right.
So
It's not shovelware.
yeah. So,
Yes, I'm good with seeing something that like they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
However, I've always thought that we still need to see
Mm-hmm.
a good, current gen game that replicates the original trilogy. We
So-
haven't seen anything like that since the Super Nintendo, and that was.
are you telling me the Super Star Wars wasn't the way that it went down in the movies? Is that what you're saying?
I'm sorry, it was not.
I watched those movies, and Luke Skywalker was just flipping all over the place with a lightsaber out the entire time.
The whole time, yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool if they had a way. I guess the only problem is you'd have to find a way to gamify that story in a
Yeah.
way that didn't feel like you were just padding it out.
No, right.
Like, you
I mean,
don't-
I guess you had the Lego games. Those followed the movies pretty closely.
Yeah. I just hope that they don't, like, if they did something like that, I hope they don't pull Force Unleashed where they try to, like, shoehorn
Oh, and like
new
kinda some
material
retcon and
right,
stuff like
into
that.
there.
Yeah.
Of course, but we've said this before. By the time that anybody who was complaining about Force Unleashed, they had already retconned the development
Yeah.
of the Rebel Alliance like 12 times.
Yeah.
I once read it was an article I think out there that says that like there have been, in fact, check me on this because I think that I'm pretty sure I'm right about this, that there have been like 4 or 5 different video games where the goal is to get the plans to the Death Star.
You're probably right.
Like original Dark Forces.
Yeah.
I think that the one of the X-Wing games or something like I don't know.
Yeah, that was one of those. I mean, that's the thing about Star Wars lore is like the original trilogy asked so many questions.
Yeah.
And it left all of these gaps, like many Bothans died to deliver us these plans, you know, that kind of thing. And so it was like, hey, let's take this and flesh it out. You know, oh, here's a minor character. Everything was so fascinating in the original trilogy. All of these little things that were just hinted at. So it left all of these things for comic books and video games to really explore.
Yeah.
And that was one of the problems with the prequels. And this is an argument that Brushwood actually crafted. He said, the original prequels were all about answers. It didn't really craft any new questions. It just, let's just fill in all of these gaps and stuff like that.
Like midi-chlorians.
Right. There was a bunch of bullshit in there.
Yeah.
But the original trilogy just left so much room for people to, and that's not necessarily a good thing for people to fill in those gaps, but really that's, what they did.
We've talked on the show quite a few times about narrative, and I think that it's, I don't know if people would argue with this. I don't know if you would argue with this, but I think that we've come across this idea several times that movies and narratives that ask questions and leave things to your imagination always seem to be better. It almost seems like whenever those questions get answered, the answer is almost never as good as
Well, that depends on a number of factors, like how you play it up, how you build it up, and stuff like that.
Well, speaking of building stuff up, shitty segue. Microsoft is throwing their hat in the ring by paying $150 million apparently to a company called Osterhout Design Group for some kind of augmented reality technology.
That could mean a lot of things.
Well, no, not really.
No, it does, because my point is, if you look in the third paragraph there, it says it's not clear whether this acquisition will lead to anything resembling the Oculus Rift or Project Morpheus.
Right.
For the Xbox.
Okay.
So it could be augmented. Augmented reality is very different from virtual.
Yeah.
So
it almost seems like that. To be honest, when I read this story, it seemed more like Microsoft to me than like. I don't know. My relationship with Microsoft is weird, and you know, I like some of the stuff that they do, but with the way that they've been marketing the Xbox One as kind of a for everybody type of thing, with the whole media box like for TV and with the Kinect and all these things, it seemed like it would make more sense for them to be able to sell you something that was like more augmented reality, that was easier for maybe new adopters to get into than going out and buying a $400 headset that you strap to your head, or whatever.
Yeah,
like just a pair of some kind of augmented glasses that you can put on that'll give you a few things flying out of the screen. You know, it actually, what was that thing that they wanted to do that had the projection thing with the room where it would?
Oh, right. I can't remember what it was
project
called.
The screen. That, it seems like this seems more like that than a full-on VR solution. But it's nice to see that, you know, Microsoft at this point is like, yes, us too. We as well.
You were kind of waiting for that, right?
But you know what? Like, I guess that this, you know, I've been waiting for years to hear Microsoft announce that they're going to put out a handheld gaming device.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
You know,
yeah. Well, with this, you know, meanwhile, Nintendo is like, we have a device that gives you points every time you eat celery.
Well, who knows, man? Maybe. Oh my God, how crazy would it be if at E3 this year? If Nintendo's Direct thing announced Virtual Boy 2. This time it works. Like have Reggie come out there and like strap that shit on, and you know. Oh man, that would be so weird. What if
I would want to see, and it won't be Jack Tretton or Don Matrick, but the head, you know, after the Nintendo thing, I would want to see the head of Sony or the head of Microsoft come out and just laugh and just go, "You dumb motherfuckers." So anyway, here's our Sony stuff.
Right. You know what? It's a brief tangent here. I think we got time for this. Brief tangent. You didn't get a chance last week because I had Nick on to voice any of your opinions about the Oculus acquisition by Facebook. Speaking of augmented reality, virtual reality, that sort of thing. Do you have any?
You know, we'll
feelings?
see. I mean, my only worry is that I'll be. I mean, I'm glad to have the Facebook money. Behind it. That's good.
Okay.
They could use that.
Mm-hmm.
Carmack could put that to good use.
Sure.
I have faith in Carmack as far as his coding skills go, not his game development skills.
Put that shit on
He doesn't give a shit about that.
Right.
He's a robot. But my only worry is I'll be playing a game and it was like, hey, a pop-up will come up. Boop, boop.
Yeah.
Hey, you did really good. Can we share this on Facebook?
Right.
You know, like right there in the goggles.
Right.
It's like, no, fuck you.
But don't you think that would be built into the software side of things, though, right? I mean, wouldn't that be more of a choice of the developer that was making the thing for the Oculus? I guess maybe
not
driver and API level, but I don't know. That's one of the things that I'm still curious about, and the comments last week didn't really do a lot to tell me. Like, what are people's nightmare scenarios? What is the nightmare scenario? Because
that to me is the nightmare scenario.
Because the thing is that you can't. Well, I guess you could, but like, you know, you're just writing driver software for a peripheral.
Yeah.
So this is just like a device. It's like it's an output display.
Not necessarily.
Maybe maybe.
Facebook is going to want to take serious advantage of whatever they have, and so if they've got a badass technology at their fingertips that they can feasibly do whatever they wanted with.
Yeah. Well, but
they could use it for evil.
But I guess the thing, I mean, somebody else pointed this out to me last week, is that I don't necessarily I need to get my hands on Project Morpheus before I make any, like, this is the future or not.
Yeah, sure.
But, like,
right.
I also want to know how much that shit's going to cost, because Sony has a bad habit of making shit way too expensive.
Yeah.
If they are going to try to bust virtual reality into the home market with a $600 headset on a $400 console, then you're going to fucking fail. But
depends on how good it is.
I get the feeling that Facebook, that the people over at Facebook are smart enough to realize that if you push this shit too far, that people will then backlash against it.
Are they?
Well, let's put it this way. They've pushed everybody that I know on Facebook who bitches and moans and complains every time they redesign their shit. You know how many of my friends have left Facebook? 3. And one of them came back.
No. Yeah, well.
Nobody actually stops using Facebook.
Yeah.
They all complain bitterly every time there's a change, and none of them ever leave Facebook.
Well, people were saying that same shit about EverQuest.
Well, it's true, but I feel like Facebook is like a part of people's lives, you know, more than EverQuest.
So is MySpace.
Yeah, but MySpace. Okay, didn't MySpace always suck? Wasn't MySpace always shitty?
Yes, but here's the thing, Jeff. Everything dies.
Okay.
All things die.
Oh wow. All right.
I remember when the
Game of Thrones house.
Phaelon Morghulis. I remember back in the 80s, the 8-bit NES.
Right.
The only gaming system you will ever need.
Yeah, well, I guess, but see, for me, I guess Facebook, to me, being more of a social thing.
Yeah.
When you say all things die, right?
Yeah.
We still got a post office, motherfucker. And who the fuck is using that anymore?
It's on the ropes.
You think so?
Oh yeah, they were like going to file for bankruptcy or some shit like that. I'm just something like that. Yeah.
Well, okay.
The post office ain't doing so hot, man.
Okay. Well, maybe it'll take time. I guess for right now.
The post office is the first social network. No, the Pony Express. No cuneiform.
I guess maybe I don't see Facebook going anywhere right now. Mostly
no,
because
not right now.
They've hooked into so many people, and Google tried as hard as they could to get us like, hey, come over to Google Plus, and everyone's like, no.
Yeah. I don't necessarily think that was because Facebook is so great. I just think it was because Google Plus sucks.
I don't know. I don't even think Facebook. I don't necessarily think Facebook is so great either. But I just everybody that I know uses it.
I'm just saying nothing is invulnerable.
Okay. Yeah, I'll agree with that. Well, speaking of non-invulnerable, I'm going to start
having horrible non sequitur segues.
I'm going to make that my new thing, is that my segues make no sense whatsoever.
Okay.
Speaking of nothing lasts forever, the Xbox division of Microsoft has a new head.
Yes.
Phil Spencer is the new head of Xbox, which is Xbox Live, Xbox Music, the ever-lucrative Xbox Music,
right,
and Xbox Video, and Microsoft Studio teams. And this is interesting because he came out and he had this quote where he said that he is a gamer.
Yeah.
And he is interested. It sounds like this is kind of more of Microsoft.
This would be a culpa. This is still damage control.
Backpedaling a little bit, going like, what there's this one... There's this one thing in this article over on Joystick that reads, by reputation, Spencer is a little bit more Gears of War, while his predecessor, Mark Whitten, was a little bit more Angry Birds. Spencer laughs at this comparison. Is better... Wait.
Is it better?
Is it like Borat or something there. Is it better to be Angry Birds or Gears of War?
Gears of War.
It's better to be Gears of War.
Clearly.
Gears of War has chainsaws that you cut people in half with. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Angry Birds have pigs that disappear in a poof of smoke.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Yes, clearly.
Yeah.
But no, this still seems like, we have to do damage control. They're still reacting to the negative fallout of E3.
I think it's just that they... Like, you can almost see
because
it.
They fucked up.
I think you can see it now in retrospect that Microsoft has for years... That when the Xbox 360 came out, at least from my perspective, you probably know better because you had one at launch and I got one way late in the game. But it seemed like when the Xbox 360 launched, it was on the heels of the Xbox as a gaming platform.
Yeah.
And that as it went along, they started adding in the Zune video and the marketplace and that sort of stuff. And then that stuff came in more and more. And then it started to account for more and more of their business, which was evident by the time that you got to the end of the Xbox 360's site. Well, the release of the Xbox One, the last dashboard update for the 360, suddenly the thing that is front and center when you turn on your Xbox, it's only like marginally about games. Half the time it's Wolverine on DVD and here's this.
Well, still it's that whole thing that Apple's been trying to do for 25 years, 30 years, or whatever, is they want to control the living room.
Right.
They want to be your hub for everything, and I wouldn't be surprised if within this generation we start seeing, hey, here's guess what, you can use Excel on the Xbox One, right. But that's what they want. They want to control everything. Every company wants to do that,
right? But
I think Xbox, they just sold it wrong.
I mean, at the end of the day, to be honest, after all this bullshit, I think that it's the price tag. I think that there's plenty of early adopters who don't give a shit about the price tag and they're going to buy whatever.
Sure.
But like for casual, middle-of-the-road people who are the people that you really want, who are going to make this thing the middle of their living room, they look at these two boxes and they go, $400, $500.
Yeah.
And the Xbox can have as many stickers on the box about it. Controls your cable, DVR, got the Kinect, check this out, woo! And they're going to go, I could spend $400 on this one and take the other $100 and go to the strip club, or I could spend $500 on this one.
Well, the ergonomics of our living room are designed for multiple devices. Most people, well, in the United States anyway, you talk about Japan, where you have a very constricted living area and stuff like that. In a lot of cases, smaller living areas, or even in New York City, you have very smaller accommodations. But most people that I know anyway, and of course this is in Austin, Texas, you have like a large console in your living room, or some sort of entertainment center, where there's not just one slot.
Right.
It's like, what's going to go here? Is it going to be my Xbox? Is it going to be my DVR?
Right.
You fill up those slots. Your receiver,
Blu-ray player, or a Roku box. Or,
you have enough room for everything, or you put it on the floor.
Right.
And so most people aren't going to say, well, you know what, I'm going to get that Xbox One so I can get rid of all of this other stuff. Now, that is a compelling argument, but I don't think most people are making that yet.
I don't either. I don't know. I feel like it's weird. I almost feel like that they might have overstepped a little bit on the people that were probably going to be your early adopters were probably okay, I'm just completely talking about out of my ass here. But to me, it seems like the people that were going to be your early adopters for this thing were probably not going to be the people who were super interested in DVRing episodes of Bones. They were going to be like, I like Gears of War and Halo, and I'm going to buy this motherfucker the day it comes out. I want Titanfall,
Yeah.
So those people are going to be like,
that's what I care about.
Yeah, well, but then, we're a weird sample group, you and I, because we don't have cable, or I don't have cable.
More and more people, I don't either. More and more people are cutting their cords.
Yeah.
Well, let me put it this way.
I'm curious to actually know from our listeners, like, how many of you guys have cable and would be interested in using your console as a DVR?
Like with hacking the system.
Yeah.
I had many of my friends come up to me and say, hey, I want to watch your show, but I don't have cable.
Right.
And I'll say, I feel you, man. I don't have cable either.
I wonder if that's mostly an Austin thing, or if that's.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I think it's. I think it's
an age thing, or.
Yeah, maybe.
I know my parents still have cable,
but tangential to that, I was talking to. And you were there. We were at the bar the other night talking to Luke Mullen, and he has both an Xbox One and a PS4.
Oh, right.
He has not used his PS4 at all.
Right.
But he has cable.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean, it was funny because we were talking with Randy from Rose Gallery.
Yeah.
And he was saying, which one should I buy?
Oh, right.
And it was like, kind of just got to make it. I mean, they're not terrifically different, but I still feel like the Xbox kind of has this weird image problem.
Yeah.
And I think it's weird because I got over it because I've been following all this news so closely. But then you look at like the sales numbers and you're going like, geez, man, like, was it really that? Did that really strike such a chord with people that they only saw the first story, or they see the price tag or whatever, where they haven't been able to walk that image back? Because I've never seen such a quick reversal of people just like, nope, fuck it, I'm going over to the other side now.
Yep.
Anyway, speaking of other sides, there's now a 12th side, and that is the Amazon Fire TV.
Yeah, one of my friends just got that today.
Yeah, did you see it?
Several of them have ordered it. No, I haven't seen it. I don't know what it is.
It's
people Amazon Fire, Amazon. I don't. What the fuck is that?
It's a little Android box that sits under your TV that does Android, Netflix, movies. Let's see, what has it got? Twitch, WWE Network, Watch ESPN, Netflix, and Hulu Plus, and then of course Amazon Instant Video. But the thing is that it's got a dedicated GPU, like in some smartphones, so they're actually able to put out, like, they've got a version of Minecraft Pocket that's going to be on it. It looks like they've actually released a few different games. The thing is, what, $99?
Okay,
is that how much it is? Fark. I don't even see it on this.
From what I'm seeing,
$99. Yeah,
unless there's something I'm missing here.
Yeah,
this means absolutely nothing to me. I already have so many devices in my home that do all of that.
Yeah.
All of that.
Well,
Amazon Prime, Netflix, all of it.
Yeah.
Unless they start having Amazon Fire specific games.
They do. They have at least one like tower defense thing that they're putting out for it. I think that
you can't see it right now, listeners, but I'm stroking my imaginary cock.
I think that this is. I think what this is part of a growing number of devices that we're seeing out there, which is things to plug into your other TV Not the TV where you got your console, but the other TV in the other room, so you can stream Netflix. There's your inexpensive things, so you can stream Netflix, you can stream Amazon, you can stream stuff. And then with this one, this is kind of like in my opinion, this is kind of like an answer to Google Chrome, right? Except that
the Chromecast.
Yeah, the Chromecast, except that it's got the beef to be able to play some games, right? It's got enough of a GPU in it to be able to play some games. And for $99, see, that's I guess the best thing about something like this is that $100, it's a nice price tag to be able to just say, I don't know, I'll give it a shot. It's $100. It's like not a huge amount, you know. I can give it a shot, and I'm sure Kevin's already got like 4 of these things. But, but we're looking at a sizzle reel right now for some of the games, and I mean, you know, they're not bad looking games.
Sure,
like they're better looking than phone games,
than the Ouya.
Yeah, than the Ouya. So I don't know. This seems like it could be an interesting thing. I don't know. Are there people out there in the world that are like way into Amazon and the Amazon ecosystem? Like, I got a Kindle Fire and I'm gonna get this new thing as well.
Yeah, I really don't care.
Okay.
I just really don't care. I have
Jason Murphy. I don't care.
I have a couple of TVs.
Yeah.
One of them is plugged in.
Yeah.
Everything else, it's like, okay, you know, I'm in bed, I'll watch it on my iPad or my laptop, you know, or I'm in another room, I'll just pull it up on my computer or whatever. This does nothing for me.
Okay. I mean, I think this is, like I said, I think it's for people who have, like, I would maybe get one of these and throw it in my living room, just as a way, because the Chromecast that I have has been a little bit, sometimes about, I mean, it's a good device, but like, okay, my phone is shitty right now. My phone is fucked up. I need a new phone.
Yeah.
And my phone is what controls the Chromecast. So it would be nice to have something where all the menus and stuff were built into the thing.
Oh, sure.
Plus, you could get a game or two here or there. But I think this is an interesting thing. I think that I like the idea of having more consoles out there and having consoles that are more lightweight for people who are like, yeah, I just want to play a little Minecraft, maybe a few casual games.
Okay, sure.
You know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. I'm kind of curious if anybody out there has one of these. Chime in the comments. Let me know how it is. So I'm throwing down a 9. I do say that $99 for the console, and then they want $40 for the controller. But then they also had a story out that said that they're going to let you sync Bluetooth controllers, so PS3, PS4, and Wii controllers. I guess up to it. All right, Jason. They're finally bringing in the co-op heist missions to Grand Theft Auto 5.
Oh, wow.
They're coming soon.
Several months after anyone gives a shit. That was supposed to happen when I bought the goddamn game.
Okay,
Rockstar.
So I brought this story up mostly to be like, Jason, do you still care?
No.
Okay.
I mean, that sounds like a blast.
Yeah.
But that's what I was expecting when we started playing co-op Grand Theft Auto.
Right.
Now I'm like, I've moved on. There's another generation that's come out since then.
Right.
Assholes.
We actually had somebody in one of the comments that was like very, very upset with us about like, you guys need to shut up about Grand Theft Auto Online. And it was like, you know what?
Yeah, I know. He was like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And I'm like, yeah, actually we do. We just have a different opinion than you.
Well,
so shut your fucking mouth.
I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking. I'll say that because the thing is that I've had friends who are like, yeah, once you get up to level 30, all this really cool stuff starts unlocking. I'm just like,
yeah, well, that's stupid.
No time.
Yeah, and they gave you all this money and all this. It's like, no, I played it for a few weeks after it came out. It failed me.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? It was kind of fun, but it wasn't sublime like I expected, and like it might be now. But you know what? Too late. I've moved on.
Yeah.
I don't even know where my copy of GTA 5 is. Fuck you. You had your window.
All right, Jason. I gotta say, I don't know. Maybe we can pull this up and do a Patreon video when it comes out.
Fine.
You can rage all.
We'll call Brushwood.
What are you gonna do if we do a video, like a Patreon video or a bonus video or something for it, and then you're just like running home to find your copy of GTA 5?
You know what?
Like, oh my god, I forgot how awesome this was.
Maybe, but you know, in the weeks that I spent in the beginning, it was kind of a pain in the ass.
Oh, the online?
The online, yeah. In fact, it wasn't even kind of a pain in the ass. It was a serious pain in the ass. The amount of work you put into getting an online game going versus and what you could do versus the amount of fun that I was having was completely disproportionate.
I think that some of my opinion about that just comes down to rage select. Is like, so it comes out, it's broken. We take a look at it. It's broken. Okay. It's going to be fixed in 2 weeks. Every week, new games are coming out. Every week, new games are coming out. I cannot go backwards, and it's possible that now.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this right now. It is entirely possible that if we were to put in GTA 5, load up the online, and patch it, right, it could be a totally sublime, awesome experience.
You know,
wouldn't even know.
Yeah,
wouldn't even know.
Exactly.
I've got so many things to play.
Don't sell me this work in progress shit. The moment you put it on the shelves, I'm going to judge it, and my judgment is fucking law.
Okay. All right, folks. You heard it.
That felt good to say.
Jason Murphy. He's Judge Dredd now.
That's right.
Judge Murphy. All right. I thought before we got out of here, we got a couple more quick ones, but I thought we'd go over some of the April Fool's jokes that came out on this week. So how many of these do you see?
Nestor added to Smash Brothers.
Yep.
That's great.
Yeah.
I like that. Shit, I forgot about Nestor.
Howard Nestor.
Howard
Phillips.
I used to read that all the time.
Yeah.
God.
In Nintendo Power.
Nintendo Power magazine was the Bible.
I want who amongst you listeners knows who Nestor is? You tell me, because I don't know if anybody knows anymore.
And tell us about the time your favorite Howdy Doody episode.
There you go. Phil Fish says he's unretired. I don't believe it.
Fuck him.
I thought that Blizzard's outings this year were a little, you know, they had the Flappy Bird thing, and then they had the Blizzard Outcast where they had all the characters that got killed off, like Wirt and the blacksmith's wife in Diablo 3. Like, all these characters as a fighting game.
Yeah, it was cute, I guess.
It was
whatever.
Okay. On the other hand, Optimus Prime in Titanfall was fucking badass.
Yeah, Respawn make that happen.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
I wouldn't even be surprised. Did you watch the actual video for it?
No, I did not.
Video?
I did not.
It was really good.
And it looks like Optimus Prime. It doesn't look like fucking Michael Bay Optimus Prime.
Yep.
It looks like...
Hands are a little small. It's got real small
the
hands.
proportions are a little weird.
Yeah. I think it's because they're mimicking the Titans, right?
One shall rise, and one shall Titan fall. They didn't do that. Why didn't they do that?
Well, you did misquote it right there. One shall stand, one shall fall.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Don't
whatever.
you fuck the Transformers the movie.
Whatever.
Get your quotes right.
You got the point.
Hey, man, if I got to get all my quotes right, you got to get all your quotes right, too. Google Maps had a Pokemon. It did them. It was a Sage Francis that did a video about playing Half-Life 3. That was pretty awesome, where it was just a video of him playing something with headphones on and just going, yeah. So, I kind of felt like this year was a little bit lackluster.
Well, there's been a lot of backlash.
Arma 3 carding.
There's been a lot of backlash for
April Fool's jokes?
April Fool's, yeah.
How so? Tell me more.
Everybody seems to be just like pissed off. Like, anyway, everybody on my Twitter feed was like, "You're just fucking stupid April Fools and all these dumb jokes. Hey, it's lying." I mean, everybody was so mad, and I was just like, I got to the point by the end of the day, where it's like, I was on your side, guys, bitching about stupid fake news and whatever, blah blah blah. It's trite. But really, what I'm sick of is everyone bitching about April Fools.
Well, I found it funny that we had some people who came on with our totally legitimate, not April Fools at all, site redesign that we did that day.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, I don't normally like April Fools, but I really liked this." And I was like, "Why don't you like April Fools? It's just, dumb shit. You just don't believe anything you read on April 1st. Like, fuck, man.
It's one day.
Guild Wars 2, get everybody a bobblehead. There was an Arma kart racer. I don't know. Like I said, some of this stuff. Oh, I did see this one. The Garrus Vicarian body pillow. I almost forwarded this to Jason.
I want it.
Yeah. I would hug on Garrus.
Yeah.
Do you think it'd be better if he wasn't wearing his armor?
I wouldn't really like cuddle him or hug on him.
Right.
I totally would. I would take it to the bar. I would sit it next to me. It's like, this is my homeboy, Garrus.
We'll just take it to the bar and then talk to it all night.
Yeah.
And then
do calibrations and drink whiskey.
So, there was actually this one story where the Frostbite engine team was shitting on the Wii U for a while until it was, God damn, I get them confused all the time. It said EA, right?
Yeah.
EA came out and said, "We told those motherfuckers to stop it, and we're sorry. This is not funny. This is just you're shitting on a bunch of people and their console."
Well, their console sucks.
Well, yeah, but you can't do that when you're the official Frostbite engine, like Twitter.
Yeah.
Like, you kind of damage public relations between major corporations when you do shit like that.
Yeah.
So,
I'm high-fiving you under the table, Frostbite.
Yeah, Angry Birds VR, Llama Simulator, I don't know. Kickstarter, Kickstarter drops the E. Some of these were really lame.
Yeah.
Sonic, did this Rappy Bird with their Rag Rappy character. A lot of Flappy Bird stuff. Naughty Doggy or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. Even like, was there anything from YouTube? Did YouTube do anything this year?
I don't know. Netflix had a rotisserie chicken rotating on a spit for an hour and 13 minutes.
Actually, I've signed up to this one blog that has just like it scours the RSS feed and just lists everything that Netflix actually puts out. And they had one that was just like test pattern 720p 20 minutes, and I put it on. It was just like, that's what it is, all right.
Well, last year they had what I thought was really cool. You know how they have that new episodes banner? Whenever they add like the next season or whatever.
Right.
On Firefly, they had new episodes.
Oh, assholes!
It was awesome, but I was also like, that's
not
below
funny.
the belt.
That's not funny.
That's not cool, Netflix.
All right. Well,
sons of bitches.
One last
playing with my emotions
story before we go, and it's one of my favorite news stories of this week. The ESRB has rated Persona 4 for the PlayStation 3. Woo!
Oh, okay. So we're done. I don't care.
Yeah. I know.
I thought Persona 4 was already out. PlayStation 3. What is this? Fucking 2011.
What is this? 2013?
Yeah.
A bunch of bullshit, man.
I know people care. Like this dumbass sitting next to me.
I just want them to put it out there so that you can play it on the console. I mean, I played it.
Because you played it on the Vita.
Yeah, you play a fucking 50-hour RPG on the Vita. That's not a fun experience to have. And it was on PlayStation 2 before. So this is like the last of the Persona series that currently has there's no way to play this one game on the PlayStation 3, even though all the rest of them you can.
Right.
So that's cool. I hope it comes out. When it comes out, you guys should all play it, especially if it's Golden, because Golden was fantastic.
No.
Shut up. You didn't even play it. You don't even know.
I'm not going to do it.
Next Sequential Saturday, Persona 4. You heard it here first.
Really? What are you going to get for that? Grant.
No, Grant's playing The Last of Us with me. You need to play Persona 4.
I'm not doing it.
All right, folks. Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we've got plenty of emails from y'all, and we're going to read them. We're going to answer them. Yep. So stay tuned, and we will be back momentarily.
Yes.
And we are back. And I gotta tell you, I'm full of rage now.
Yeah,
I got a lot of rage in me.
Don't.
I'm ready for questions.
Keep it.
I'm ready for questions.
Wrap it up. Bury it.
All right, well, we got a lot of questions, so we're going to get to the first one. And this one is from Martin, and Martin says, "Dear Jeff McBeard and friends of Dorothy's beard." I don't know if I like being compared to David Cross, but I guess he's real successful, right?
Do you know what that means? You know what friends of Dorothy means?
That was in Arrested Development, right? No?
It was in Arrested Development, yes.
Oh, that's the only time I've ever encountered
Friends of Dorothy means homosexual.
Oh. What?
That's why that joke was so funny.
Okay. Oh, okay. I get it now. Well, fuck it. We're not reading this question anymore. No, I'm just kidding. Martin says, "A year ago, I watched Suspiria, a film I knew nothing about, but it became one of my favorite horror films. Never gone back and rewatched it since I fear it might not hold up considering I now know its secret. Did the same with The Skin I Live In, and it wasn't as good the second time. Have you had similar experiences with films like these that had a secret? Are there any exceptions where a movie holds up watching it again? And should I shut my whore mouth and watch Suspiria again? Goonies Never Say Die, Martin." And he says, "P.S. If you've never seen Suspiria, do it and don't go to IMDb first since the info spoils it. I have seen Suspiria."
Martin, props. I like this question.
Right.
Because, horror movies.
Yeah.
We need to get more questions of horror movies.
Hey, I picked this one out specifically
Bring
for
them
you.
on. Thank
I figured you probably had some stuff to say about this topic.
Yeah, Suspiria sucks.
Oh, yeah?
On the first viewing, Suspiria sucks. I know that's heresy, especially coming from a horror fan. So many other horror fans would just, nail me to the cross for that. But I did not like Suspiria. Dario Argento, he does a lot of stuff where he just, does a lot of these, just a lot of weird imagery, and the story doesn't make any sense, and it's weird, and there are weird musical stings, usually from Goblin.
Yeah.
And it's just this really weird, dreamlike quality, and then you get to the end of the movie, and you're like, wait,
what
happened? Yeah, I'm not a Suspiria fan, although I do want it on Blu-ray, and I don't think there's any U.S. release Blu-ray of Suspiria.
Wait, you want it on Blu-ray?
I do want it on Blu-ray.
Why do you want it on Blu-ray?
There's some really great imagery and some great kills.
Okay.
It's not completely without merit.
Okay.
There's some good stuff to it, and it is a classic for a reason, but I have a lot of problems with it.
I mean, I think when I first saw it, it had been really hyped up by people who were big into horror and the Italian horror, the giallo stuff, and when I saw it, I was like, this seems okay. I guess I didn't really understand why everybody was so losing their shit about it.
I've seen a lot of Argento films, and I don't think this is his best one.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people do. I don't think it's his best one, but I think that is phenomena.
But what do you think about the question?
The question?
Rewatching something where you already know the twist to it.
This one is a really recent one.
Yeah.
But one that I've watched. I'm going to go with two.
Okay.
One of them, the twist or the quote unquote secret is not.
Wait, spoiler?
Not a
spoilers?
huge twist.
Okay.
No, I'm not going to go into any spoilers.
Okay.
But a movie that I really, really like that is very maligned. A lot of it is because it's found footage. Actually, both of the movies that I'm going to mention are found footage. The first one is The Last Exorcism.
Okay, I have not seen that.
It's a horror film about a Southern Baptist preacher. I think he's Baptist. It's directed by Daniel Stamm, and the preacher has lost his faith. He's just kind of going through the motions, and he gets hired to perform this exorcism.
Okay.
And he gets involved in something that he gets deeper and deeper into this, and things start to get really disturbing. It's not that scary, I didn't think. A lot of people didn't like it because of the ending. I really did, because I think it's a great character study. So I think that holds up. The other one is another found footage movie. It's done by Eduardo Sanchez, one of the guys behind The Blair Witch, and he's done a lot of movies since then.
Okay.
It's called Lovely Molly.
Never seen that either.
And the twist in this, I don't even know if you'd call it a twist or a secret, but you don't really know exactly what's going on the whole time. I believe it's on Netflix. It was, if it's not anymore. But it's about a woman who is staying in this home out in the middle of nowhere by herself, and it's all found footage and stuff. And she's slowly losing her mind. Mm-hmm. I thought that was very good, and on second viewing, I still really enjoyed it.
Just in general, with stuff that has plot twists, you generally tend to find that if you watch it... Do you watch movies more than once a lot?
Yeah.
Okay. So on second watch, do you generally tend to find that they are less effective now that you know what the twist is?
That depends. If the twist ruins the movie...
Yeah.
On the first viewing, then it's sure as shit not going to be good on the second viewing.
See, I guess what I thought about
when good movie is a good movie, no matter what no matter if there's a twist or not.
Right. I think that in some cases, like I haven't rewatched The Skin I Live In since the first time I saw it, but I'm gonna talk, and I'm gonna put out some spoilers there because I have a feeling, So a few people on the website really don't like me when I spoil stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about Fight Club because I'm assuming every goddamn person has seen Fight Club.
And if not, you should.
And if you haven't, skip over this part and watch Fight Club instead of listening to me talk.
Honestly, it's kind of one of the movies that defines a generation.
Yeah. So Fight Club has the big twist about Tyler Durden and his identity, right?
Yeah.
But what I feel like when they do a good twist like that then the second time that you watch the movie, when you know that, it's a very different movie.
It's more rewarding.
So, like, when the first time you watch Fight Club and you don't know, and you get to the end, you're like, oh! But then the second time we watch Fight Club, like, all of Marla's interaction with Jack suddenly takes on a whole different light.
Yeah.
There's scenes where you're just like, where people have an expression on their face where you're like, oh, shit, I didn't even know that the first time.
Kudos to you. That's actually probably the best example.
Yeah. The Skin I Live In, I actually kind of wanted to go watch again because of the reveal there. It seems like it could have been interesting, but I haven't seen it a second time. But so it depends on that. If it's got to be something where the director has set that shit up throughout the movie so that there is stuff to go back and watch again instead of just being like, because there are plenty of movies that have shitty twists.
Oh yeah,
where it's just like, and here's the twist, and it turns out that completely fucked up and made implausible the entire story up until now.
High tension,
right?
Haute tension, however you want to say it. Yeah, that movie, I was with it until the twist, and it ruined the entire movie.
I started thinking about the twist in that movie, and I was just like, that makes a lot of this not make any sense anymore.
Exactly.
Like, what do? Huh? In fact, I just watched. Okay, I watched over the weekend on HBO Go. what the fucking is that magic thieving movie with Zuckerberg.
Now You See Me?
Yeah, and that
I haven't seen that yet.
I got to the end and I was like, what? That's fucking stupid. What are you talking about? Like, that's idiotic. That was the thing? Like, come on, you guys. That was okay. It was a fun movie, but when I got to the end, it was just like, oh, so I just wasted 2 hours of my life for that. Okay, fine, fuck you guys. I'm out of here. So, like, yeah, I would never watch that again. But I feel like if it's a good movie, The Sixth Sense is another good one, right?
Yeah.
Where when you go back and watch the movie and you can see that all the clues have been there, right? And the setups and stuff.
No, say what you will about M. Night Shyamalan, Sixth Sense still holds up.
Yeah. So I feel like one of the things to keep in mind here is that sometimes with these sorts of things, if the twist isn't really strong, it's better to just, like, you thought that movie was real good, put it on the shelf, walk away from it for 4 years, 5 years, then go back and watch it again after time has passed and it's not super fresh in your mind.
Fight Club, on the other hand, I watched that like 3 times in the theater.
I was thinking the other day, I was like, I need to watch Fight Club again. I haven't seen Fight Club in a while.
And indeed, Martin Goonies never say die.
Yep. All right, our next question comes in from Jove. And Jove, I don't know. Joe, what do you think? Jove? Okay. Jove says, hello, Jeff and Jason. First time asking a question. I was wondering, what are your thoughts on the last BioShock DLC that concludes both the stories of BioShock 1 and Infinite? And what are your thoughts of the controversial ending that seems to have the fan base split down the middle? The ending of the DLC gave me mixed feelings and made me feel really distressed. I was hoping you could shed some light on this. Thanks, keep up the great work, Jove. And I realized this is one that you didn't play. But I don't want to really, like, we have limited time, and I don't really want to spend time doing like a formal review because DLC, it's always like, do you do that anyway? So
just
without
give a top level view,
no spoilers, upper level view. I think that put together, those 2 episodes represent around between 4 and 8 hours of gameplay, which is a solid,
significant
game. I think that the stuff that happens in 2, I think that the end of the first one was really cool. Didn't see it coming. Kind of went there, boom. I'm also a Rapture junkie, and I'm not going to make any bones about that.
Yeah.
So I love going back to Rapture. The end of the second one, I felt like there were a lot of hanging plot threads that tied into the end of the narrative from Infinite, where they did stuff at the end of Infinite that was interesting, and at the beginning of the second part of Burial at Sea, they kind of threw some of that away. They kind of threw some of the stuff from there away and made it a slightly different story. So when you got to the end of it's a smaller story, right? Like, the ending of BioShock 1 was very straightforward. It was the end of the story and the moral choices and stuff like that. The ending of BioShock Infinite, they do and all this metaphysical craziness. If you haven't played it, I'm not going to spoil it. It's whatever. The end of BioShock 2 was kind of, or the ending of the BioShock Burial at Sea Part 1 suddenly tied back into Infinite in a way that I wasn't ready for, and I was like, oh shit, right, okay. The ending of BioShock 2 kind of just went whoop, and it was over. It didn't really have that same, we were talking about twists just a second ago, it didn't have that same kind of twist to tie back into some of the metaphysical narrative stuff from Infinite. Like, it was a smaller story. It ended in a very kind of like more of like a Last of Us kind of a low note kind of, somber type of ending. I didn't think it was bad, but I just felt like I like at this point the BioShock franchise has set a precedent for a certain level of metaphysical twistiness, and that really wasn't there at the end of Burial at Sea. Like, it did tie into original BioShock in some interesting ways, very interesting ways, and I did appreciate a lot of the places where you cross over with that game, but the actual end last scene of it was a little bit like, maybe you could have done a little bit more.
Okay.
So that's what I give it. Or that's what I'd say about it. I'm not going to give it a rating or anything. All right, our next question comes in from Hyphenator437. Hyphenator says, Dear Rage Masters, you are officially the judges of my trial in manliness court.
Goddamn right.
On the evening of March 23rd, I was crying alone in my apartment. I had just finished the opening sequence in The Last of Us. Do I get to keep my man card, or am I forever a girly man?
Hey,
Long-time fan, Hyphenator.
If you...
that shit's gonna tug it.
If you want to suck dick in the privacy of your own apartment, you just suck that dick and be proud of it.
Jason is full of shit because when we played the game, he had to take a few minutes to go and wipe his face.
That's not true.
Okay,
that is not true.
Okay. Jason is a dirty robot from the future with no feelings who likes to eat puppies in his spare time. How about that? That is true, right?
Puppies, come on, I love puppies.
Kittens,
yeah.
I'll
eat a fucking kitten.
barbecued kitten.
Yeah,
I that whole thing was like almost at Disney levels of manipulatively heart-rending.
It was good. It was good. But you crying alone in your apartment? Jeez.
As opposed to what?
As opposed to you going, that was very emotional. I would like to move on to the next level and swig some more whiskey and suck it up. If there's a reason you're crying alone, don't email it to the rest of the fucking world.
Oh, man.
We're talking to thousands of people right now, hyphenator. God, if you catch yourself crying, you jump up and you scream at that PlayStation. You just fuck you, and then you kick it, and then you go start a fight. Preferably with an Irish man with gin blossoms on his nose. You go just pick a fight, and that's what you need to do to make up for this right now. I want you to go down to the seediest bar you can find and find some drunken Irish dude, and you just punch him and say, "This isn't about you. This is for me." And you just start a good fight, but you got to be drunk. And then even if you get your ass kicked, it's better?
Fine. Find Danny Trejo.
Danny Trejo.
Start a fight with Danny Trejo.
Don't do that.
You'll die.
There are limits.
You'll die, hyphenator.
Find Danny Trejo and stand next to him.
Right. Just absorb some of his Trejosity.
And then he will look at you and he will go, "Yo, bro. Essay, were you crying alone on March 23rd? Because I could smell it on you like a bitch."
So you guys heard it from here. Jason Murphy, are you a man? Do you feel the need to cry? Well, shove that shit down.
Yeah.
And pour whiskey on top of it.
That's exactly right.
Fuck some dirty sluts.
That's exactly right. Okay, so I may have said this before, and I stole this from some comedian. I don't remember who it is.
Yeah.
But you got to live life like an Irish man. So I have a wife who's like an old Jewish woman who is. She walks in and she's like, "Oh, my stomach hurts.
Right.
I think I had some jalapenos or something."
Right.
And you don't ever have to worry about figuring out what's wrong with her because she will tell you. Irish guys, on the other hand, you take all those negative feelings, all that sadness, all that hatred, and being bummed out, and you just swallow it down. You swallow it down. You pour a bunch of whiskey on top of it.
Right.
And then one day you die.
Okay, well, there you go, hyphenator. I'm going to say it's okay to be choked up by the opening sequence of The Last of Us.
Yeah, all right. And I'm going to slap that dick right out of your mouth.
Yeah. You're mean when you're drinking
I know,
whiskey,
right?
Like normally Jason's over here with Lone Star and vodka, and he's real mellow and laid back.
But today it's Jameson's.
He's swinging whiskey, and I'm like, I feel like I need to get drunk to keep up with your shit. Fuck you, Murphy. I'll put all the dicks in my mouth if I want them there.
That good,
Fucking Irish asshole.
If you want to suck a dick, you suck that dick. You do it, but don't come crying to me like, "Oh, I sucked a dick in my apartment. I'm so ashamed." Own it. Own it.
This is Jason's pro-gay rights rally speech in front of the Capitol.
Yeah.
If you want to suck a dick, you suck it like a man, motherfucker.
Yeah. Don't be a faggot about it. Suck that dick, faggot.
And suddenly I'm co-hosting with Louis C.K. All right.
Oh, that's where that came from. That's right.
Let's move on to our next.
No, here's the thing. I am not. Up until now, I have not been. I've been one of those like, "Oh well, Jägermeister makes me really contemplative, but tequila makes me fight," and all this. I always thought that was bullshit.
Right.
But right now I'm thinking, no, there's something to it. Because I've been drinking whiskey. And I'm feeling punchy.
All right.
So maybe there is something to it.
Let's get
Andrew. Andy in Columbus.
Andy in Columbus says, "Hey, Jeff and Jason, I'm a longtime fan from back in the old days, but this is my first time sending in a question." I always give priority to people who say that.
Hey, props, Andy.
When I was a kid, and even now, my favorite characters in most movies, books, video games, etc. were always the villains. Characters like Darth Vader, the Joker, and Voss just seem to be more interesting to me, even though we're supposed to root against them. So my question is this: who are some of your favorite villains/antagonists of all time?
Oh, well, you listed three of the best. Two of the obvious ones and one very underappreciated one, which is Voss.
When I was reading that, I was kind of like, one of these things is not like the other.
Right? You had two Titans, then you had Voss, but Voss is fucking awesome.
He's pretty fucking terrible.
Great villains.
Yep.
Yeah. What about you, man?
Well, one of my favorite villains that you depended on the show, right, is Scorpius from Farscape.
What? Shut up.
You never watched the show.
I watched several, maybe even the entire first season. It was stupid.
Didn't even get to him at the end of the first season. Anyway, I like him as a villain because in the show Farscape, every time the main characters run across him and his plans, they end up damaged in some way. Like, they never just like, ooh, we saved the day, we're out unscathed. They always end up with like some serious shit that then ends up having to be resolved over the course of a whole season or several different plot arcs or stuff like that. Like, I like the fact that every time they run into that villain, like, it changes the whole dynamic of that show and those people because of the destructive power that he as a villain tends to wield. So that what can I say? One of my favorite villains.
What else?
Let's see.
Or who else, rather?
James Earl Jones and Conan.
Yeah.
Obviously. Like, that dude, he was just like, I like to be a charismatic villain, you know? He was a charismatic motherfucker. I don't know. You do some. Let me think about it.
I like Patrick Bateman in American Psycho.
Is he a villain?
Yeah.
So okay.
I think so. He was a protagonist, but he was still the bad guy.
So let me ask you a question. Spoilers for American Psycho. Did he actually kill anybody?
Well, I haven't read the book, unfortunately.
I'm talking about just in the movie. Like,
in the movie,
implication in the movie is that he didn't actually kill anybody.
I know.
So that makes him just crazy asshole. Like,
I think he still qualifies as a villain.
Okay.
Even if he didn't, I don't know if he did or not.
Okay.
I never did make up my mind about that.
More of a douchebag to me. Like, you know.
Well, he's definitely that. He is definitely that. Frank Underwood.
Oh,
from House of Cards. Mm-hmm. That's one I recently devoured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You finally got past that dog thing in the first episode.
I did. And that was okay. You know, I finally got past that, and it's a good series. Not great, but it's good. But he is a great villain.
Ooh, I'm going to go with an old easy standby.
Okay.
Ricardo Montalban and Wrath of fucking Khan.
Wrath of Khan.
I love Khan from Hell's Heart. I stab at thee.
Yeah, Wrath of Khan is good. Hannibal Lecter.
I mean,
these are all kind of cliches, but they're cliched for a reason.
Yeah.
The Joker is one of the greatest villains of all time. You know, I mean, you say that in there, but yeah I think the Joker's amazing. Even, movie aside, the Joker in the comics is phenomenal.
I do. You know what? It's as comics go, I really do like Lex Luthor a lot as well.
Okay.
Especially like the kind of like I like the idea that Lex Luthor is so subtly a Superman villain that he keeps getting to run his corporation. Mm-hmm. He's got plausible deniability, and Superman's so much of a good guy he won't just punch his brains out the back of his skull.
Yeah.
So he gets to kind of manipulate around. I like manipulative bad guys.
I like
the first appearance of Prometheus in the comics as well a lot too.
Oh yeah,
anti-Batman.
That's good. I like Magneto. Mm-hmm. Magneto is very cool.
Well, Darkseid, obvioly.
Darkseid's very one
Darkseid.
note, but I like Darkseid though. I'm trying to think of somebody. I always liked early appearances of Freddy Krueger.
Yeah. Before 3 Elm Street 3?
Basically just Elm Street 1.
Just Elm Street 1?
Basically just in Elm Street 1.
Okay.
Back when he was scary.
And then what about the
New Nightmare?
New Nightmare?
Yeah. He was actually really good in New Nightmare, yeah. That's what about video games?
Video games, yeah.
Good villains in video games.
The dude in what the fuck was his name in Borderlands 2? Handsome Jack or whatever his name was.
I didn't really play it that much.
Oh, he kept coming across the comms with a bunch of just like, just kind of like laying into the main character, and that was cool.
I didn't like this guy, but I hated him so much that I have to give props. The government guy in Red Dead Redemption.
Oh yeah.
I was just like, you motherfucker. I was so pissed at him.
Yeah.
I was so mad. Who else?
I'm trying to think of good games. I mean, there's some obvious stuff out there like Liquid Snake in the Metal Gear, or Revolver Ocelot actually in the Metal Gear franchise is a really interesting character because he's ambiguous as far as if is he a bad guy, is he not a bad guy kind of thing. Let's see here. You know what? We talked about BioShock before, but Frank Fontaine from the original BioShock, that turn was interesting, and the revelation of him still something that sticks with me.
Speaking of irrational, Shodan.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
always loved Shodan.
GLaDOS. If you're gonna mention Shodan, you got to mention GLaDOS.
Those two go hand in hand.
Yeah.
One of my favorites is actually Cobra Commander.
Okay.
And not for the majority the way that Cobra Commander has been presented, but in the G.I. Joe Cobra comic, written by Christos Gage and I can't remember his first name, Costa.
Yeah.
Cobra Commander was a sly, manipulative, 2 steps ahead, evil bastard.
Okay.
Yeah, he was really good in that.
I've always been more of a Destro kind of guy myself.
Destro's a pimp.
Yeah.
I mean, open-shirted, open chest.
Right.
Exposed chest with a big medallion and its silver mask. And then they had that other figure that came out like late in the G.I. Joe line where it was like Jungle Pimp Destro.
What? What are you talking about? Jungle Pimp Destro?
You gotta see this.
Yeah.
He looked amazing.
If I just type in Jungle Pimp Destro,
that's my name for him. I don't think you're gonna find it like that, but
Jungle Pimp.
You guys should look him up. He was so awesome. I was just like, oh, this is awesome.
No, I didn't get anything from that. Wait, Pimp Daddy Destro?
Pimp Daddy Destro. There it is. There, look at that.
Holy shit.
Right?
Dude, he's got like leather or a leopard print like piping on his outfit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is pretty awesome.
Still got the medallion.
Yeah.
He's got an undershirt on now, clearly. like big leather pauldrons.
What? That is awesome.
Yeah. Jungle Pimp Destro. That's what I've always called him.
Pimp Daddy Destro.
Yeah.
That is pretty badass.
Cool. Yeah.
All right. Well, Andy, I'm going to leave you with that. I think that's a big enough list. We could probably sit here and come up with some kind of like top 100 at some point.
All night.
But
yep.
All right, our next one comes in from Joshua. Joshua says, "Hey, Jeff, I heard in the previous podcast that you played Dragon Age 2 and didn't enjoy it. I am a huge Dragon Age fan and was also disappointed by the game, but I didn't hate it. The new Dragon Age Inquisition is coming out this year, so I wanted to get your opinion. My question is, do you think they'll learn from their previous mistakes and revive the franchise, or is it too little too late? Thanks, Joshua."
For my completely uninformed opinion, I played Dragon Age, didn't play it all the way through. Played a little bit of Dragon Age 2.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Saw the trailer for Dragon Age Inquisition. I was like, whoa, that looks like dog shit.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this. First of all, Joshua, let's say that Dead Space 1 is a good game, and then Dead Space 2 was just like shit on toast. It wasn't, but let's just say it was.
Yeah.
And then Dead Space 3 came out, and everybody was like, dude, Dead Space 3 is really good. You got to play it. I would be like, no, I already got burned by shit on toast. I'm not going to play the third one. So I thought that Dragon Age 2 was offensive because of how fucking boring it was. Not because of anything. It wasn't like buggy or bad. It was just dull and repetitive.
You're going to play Dragon Age 3, though.
I play everything. Of course I'm going to play Dragon Age 3. Yeah, I'm not going to boycott Dragon Age 3 because of Dragon Age 2. So I'll play it. They left Dragon Age 2 on a weird cliffhanger for Dragon Age 3, and then they took, has it been 3 years to put out Dragon Age 3?
And then they released that completely lackluster trailer at E3. Hopefully at the E3 2014, they will show something good. But, man, compared to all of the amazing trailers we saw at E3 2013...
Yeah. Well, just think,
that one was one of the weakest ones.
You remember the Dragon Age 2 trailer, right? Where the guy was like fighting the demon-looking guy, and he like swipes the blood on his face. It was this like wonderfully pre-rendered cutscene or pre-rendered trailer that was really exciting. I don't know. I think that they are probably just going to have a road ahead of them of getting people super interested. Plus, we're also looking at a BioWare after the doctors have left, now.
Yeah.
So it's this kind of, I've said it before, but this is kind of like their trial by fire is like, is this up to the quality of previous BioWare stuff, And if it is, great. And if it's not, then shitty. One more company where you can't just be assured that everything they put out is going to be gold anymore. You're going to have to take it, one game at a time. So I never beat Dragon Age 1. And I did beat Dragon Age 2, and it was a terrific pain in the ass. So I'll play 3, and we'll see. I'm hoping that they learned their lessons from 2. Sometimes, companies like EA will listen to feedback if they get a lot of negative feedback for something and then change certain things. I mean, not, like Battlefield or anything like that.
Right.
So, all right, our next question comes in from... Matt. And Matt says, hello, Jeff and Jason. My name is Matt, and my question for you guys is about collector's editions of video games. I know where you guys and most people stand on pre-orders, but what about these special editions of games? What are some things that make great collector's editions for you, and do you see these possibly dying out in years to come or growing stronger as we move to a more digital age? Thanks for answering my question, and rage on.
I personally don't care about collector's editions usually, but I don't have anything against them because I realize I'm fully aware of the very human need to have things.
Yeah.
Which you are not. You, Jeff, do not have things.
I don't like things.
Yeah. I have
or
a lot of things.
Or people or places, actually.
That's true. I have a lot of things. I have too many things.
Yeah.
And so I'll see something, even about a game that I love, and it's like, oh, it comes with this little statuette and this book and everything. I'm like, oh, that's really cool, but I have a garage full of shit. I don't have enough room in my home for all of the things. But I don't have any problem with it. If you want to spend your money on that, great. As long as you're not screwing me out of the game itself.
Right.
Now, what was it? Was it Wolfenstein recently?
Oh, or the collector's edition doesn't actually have the game in it?
Yeah, what the fuck? Seriously?
Yeah,
because that's all window dressing, man.
Yeah, you told me about that. I didn't even see that story. And I was just like, because I saw it, and I scrolled past it. That's how I care about. I was like, well, what the fuck? I think you were like, yeah, it doesn't even have the game, and I was like, wait, what?
Some of them come out with some really cool stuff. I got to say, Red Dead Redemption 2 comes out with something compelling. I might pony up for that. I love Skyrim, but I didn't buy the collector's edition of Skyrim.
Nope.
And you know how you guys know how much I love Skyrim.
Yeah,
it takes a lot.
I guess
I bought one collector's edition my entire life.
Which one?
Ultima Online.
Really?
Yeah.
What did you get with that?
A cloth map.
Okay.
And a little pin.
Oh, that was back in the old days when you didn't have to have a 16-inch resin statue to come with your...
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Which I still have it, actually. Yeah. I still have the cloth map of Ultima or whatever the hell it is.
Oh, see, here's for me what it comes down to. Like, what is in your collector's edition? Is it a figure? Don't care.
Yeah.
I've thrown away almost all my action figures. I don't work in an office where I need to display anything. I'm not putting that shit in my living room for the no women that I bring home to look at. Don't care. Does it come with some kind of art book? Don't care. You can find that online. I can find those pictures online.
Yeah, exactly.
Does it come with the soundtrack? Don't care. I'll buy it if I really feel strongly about it. It's not worth anything. The only time that I care about the collector's edition of a game is if there's something in there that does not come in the regular version of the game that is in the game, that is not cosmetic. Like, here's the collector's edition. You get 6 new outfits for Desmond. I'm like, oh, fuck, I don't care. I don't care. But if it's like, I remember one of I think 3 collector's editions that I bought was there was a Splinter Cell Chaos Theory Iron Box collector's edition that had bonus levels for the original Splinter Cell on the PC that had never been released before that.
Oh, wow.
So they'd been released on the Xbox, on the original Xbox, but they had never been released for the PC, and this was kind of before DLC was a big thing. So that game came with those levels that you could patch into the PC version.
Nice, okay.
That was worth it to me. I bought the Metal Gear Solid 4 Collector's Edition. I've still got the dumb box down there. Came with a soundtrack and a DVD. I think I watched the DVD once, and then it was like, fuck it, I don't care.
Some people are really into collector's editions, though.
I mean, I am not a collector of things anymore.
I am.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You've pointed it out. I'm not going to deny.
Yeah,
I don't have shit on my walls. I have very few things where I live.
You got those art books that go on your coffee table. Well,
right.
Jeff doesn't have a fucking coffee table.
Well, I do, but I moved it off to the side of my living room because I don't.
So that people wouldn't put things on it.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. The only thing I really collect right now are comic books. I don't even buy DVDs anymore, and. Jeff has seen my DVD wall.
Yep,
and it's stupid.
Yep,
it's stupid.
It's really stupid.
But the only thing is comics. Fortunately, I'll buy an action figure every now and then. Mm-hmm. Particularly like Marvel or Star Wars or something like that. But rarely. I don't do that very often.
I mean, I've gotten pre-order bonus shirts. Don't ever wear them.
Yeah.
I've gotten I'm wearing a...
Yeah, what is that one you're wearing right now?
This is actually one of the things they handed out at E3 last year at the Call of Duty Black Ops thing, but that's because I was doing laundry today. So.
I gotta call you out.
Yeah.
Because you bitched incessantly. Mm-hmm. You see people carrying around all this swag and everything.
Yep.
And they're noobs and they're neophytes and Philistines and they don't know what they're doing and blah blah blah.
I don't think I put it like that.
You were very disdainful.
What I said was, if you're carrying around a giant bag full of shit that you got, then you're not at E3 to cover E3. You're at E3 to get free shit.
Yeah.
They handed me a T-shirt. I shoved it in my courier bag instead of throwing it down on the ground.
So what did I walk away from E3 from last year?
What's that?
A lanyard. Okay. The one that they gave to me that had my badge on it. I turned down T-shirts and all this shit. What is one of the shirts I see you wearing all the time? Motherfucking Killzone. You walked away with shit, and I was like, well, I didn't. I said no because I thought I was violating some Jeff code. And here Jeff is wearing a goddamn T-shirt he got at E3.
Let me ask you a question real fast, Jason.
Yeah. Oh, you know what I had? Jelly beans. I walked away with jelly beans. I took that.
Oh, yeah, you did. Those were some pretty good jelly beans. When in the past has anything that I've ever said to you ever made the least difference in your behavior in this world?
E3.
E3?
Yeah.
That was the last time?
Yeah.
Okay, you can have this shirt.
I don't want the fucking shirt.
I don't want
the fucking shirt.
The guy gave it to me. I thought it would be rude to throw it back in his face or just throw it on the ground. So I put it in my backpack, and then we got back to the hotel, and it was there. They tried to give me a 400-piece puzzle at The Witcher, and I was like, I'm not carrying this shit around all day. So I took the T-shirt and
I
got
turned
out.
away T-shirts. I don't want that. No.
You don't want them now. What are you going to do? You're going to...
It's a good point. I have too many T-shirts.
I don't wear my Killzone Shadowfall T-shirt to the bar, and I got to tell you, anybody who wants the Killzone Shadowfall T-shirt that I got, you can fucking have it. I don't give a shit. Like, I don't care.
We're gonna auction that off.
Yeah, sure.
Unwashed.
I've sweated in it a lot, so hope you guys are into that.
It's true.
All right. Next one comes in from our good friend Toshi. Toshi says, "Hello, Jeff and Jason."
Toshi.
Yep.
That Toshi?
I believe so.
There can't be any other Toshi.
Yeah. What are
I don't like that guy. Skip this question.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. He's
what are your thoughts on the trend of video games double dipping? Not talking about Game of the Year editions or best versions where the price is slashed. Talking about where developers pull a Lucas and release what is essentially the same game with a lengthened title and a few added features. Final Fantasy, Soul Sacrifice Delta, the Monster Hunter series, and its stupid fucking G. On the plus side, we're getting more content. In the case of HD versions, a chance to revisit a prettier version of a game we loved. On the extremely negative side, we are paying pretty much full price for what in most cases could be considered a patch or a DLC add-on. Love the show and keep raging on. Your pal and fellow game journalist Toshi.
He writes for Kotaku. Check him out.
Yes, he does. So I don't know. Have you really run across this all that much?
I've seen it before, but I'm hard pressed to think of any specific examples. Those games that he listed, those aren't ones that I usually play.
It tends to happen more in JRPGs, right, than it does.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of a Western example of it.
Yeah, I mean, everything I'm trying to think of, there is usually a value add there. Somebody's going to correct me, and they'll probably be absolutely right. I don't see this happening that often, but I know it does happen.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think those examples that he gave are, from what I understand, pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And that's really shitty, you know?
Good examples of shitty behavior.
Oh, good, yeah, good examples.
Okay.
That's what I mean.
Are you playing the Final Fantasy International versions? Are you a fan of Final Fantasy? You haven't told me, Jason?
Oh, dude, I've been totally playing Soul Sacrifice Delta. I had to read that off the screen. But no, that I know what he means, and yeah, that's pretty abominable.
I think that it's a holdover more than anything, though, right? I mean, it's a holdover from back in the old days when essentially there was no way to distribute DLC.
Right.
Like, I don't even see it.
Yeah.
I mean, Dynasty Warriors is pretty shitty about that, right?
Oh,
they'll
really?
release a second version of the same Dynasty Warriors with a bunch of stuff added in, but
and
I
you
feel
can't
like
even tell the difference.
Well, you know, Grant and I were playing the Final Fantasy X, and we were playing 10-2, and they had this huge tutorial for a thing that I don't even think was in the original, and I was just like, what is this? So, but the problem that I have is that with most of the games that you're talking about, like, I generally tend to see this happen with Japanese companies, and it tends to be a holdover from the PlayStation 2 days when there was no such thing as DLC. For the most part, the games that you're talking about are multi-hour games, like 30 to 40 to 50 to 60-plus hour games.
Yeah.
Of all the games that I play over and over again, it takes something really special to get me to reinvest in a 40-hour RPG a second time. And a lot of times the stuff that they're adding in just isn't attractive enough to me to do it. So it's not necessarily, I think it's kind of a shitty business practice that's more of a holdover than anything else. But I wouldn't really know much about it because I've never really engaged in it. I don't really play stuff a second time. On the other hand, I do think that the idea of, I think I've finally gotten over my whole, as long as you're not trying to charge me full price for the HD upres of an old game, like that's actually kind of becoming something that I'm enjoying of having.
I do like the HD upreses, but usually because they'll charge you like $40 and you get a couple of games in that package.
Yeah, like the Shadow of the Colossus HD, or
Shadow of the Colossus and Eco,
or Final Fantasy. I think was like
God of War,
$50 or $60, but it was 2 games and a bunch of stuff that hadn't been released here before.
Yeah.
So I think those things are great, and I absolutely, positively love when they put together the Game of the Year Collector's Edition or whatever, where they
put all the DLC,
in there. Yeah. I love it when they do that because it means that people who never got a chance to play this, like especially when those things come out and then they drop in price, and you can spend like $30 or $20 for like Fallout 3 and all of the DLC that came with it. You're just like, that is a shitload of game that you're getting for $20.
Yeah.
So. All right, thanks, Toshi. Our next question.
Check him out on Kotaku again.
Comes in from Manil. I think he told me how to say his name.
Manil.
Hello, Selectors of Rage. I've been failing in
I've seen a failing.
Okay. I've seen fitness, yes. I've seen a failing in myself that I'd like your input on. I've noticed that prose tends to not catch me the same way that comics do. I can and did devour Transmetropolitan without trouble, but when faced with prose that I genuinely like, I tend to not finish it. The most recent prose I read to completion was Fire in the Hole by Elmore Leonard, and that took a long time. Is there any way around this? Have either of you faced a similar problem? Please help, because I desperately want to read the Dark Tower series, but I don't want to drop it because of my low attention span. Anywho, really enjoy what you guys do and really looking forward to all the content you put out. Thanks a lot, Manil. Do you have this problem, Jason?
You know, I go through phases where I don't read a lot of prose, and I'm in one right now where I am reading pretty consistently. Right now, I'm reading a collection of short stories by Laird Barron, very Lovecraftian stuff. It was the collection is called the Imago Sequence. It's pretty good. But anyway, I think it's important to keep trying to read prose, because I will go for long periods of time where I don't. But you also maybe don't blame yourself completely, Manil, because it may be you, but it also might be what you're reading.
Sure.
You know, maybe it's not very good. So don't beat yourself up too much, but you got to keep trying.
What I would say is, maybe try a few different genres, because there are a few authors, like I know that the Ian M. Banks, the Culture series that he writes, those novels are very dense, and I usually have to kind of like choke down the first 100 pages before I'm really invested in the characters and the storyline.
Yeah, especially in a lot of big, dense stuff like that. You really got to get into it.
Or a good example is Cryptonomicon by Neil Stephenson, right? I had to choke down maybe 250 pages of that before I was invested.
Yeah, I read about 400 and then said, fuck you, Neil Stephenson. I didn't read this to read about calculus.
Yep. Where I'd say that, maybe I think that a good thing, and something that I've been doing recently, and this is different for every person, this depends on the genres that you're interested in, but like what I've been doing is I go and find, like, the first thing that I'll do when I'm looking for a new book to read, because I like sci-fi, is just bring up the list of Hugo Award winners for all the years.
Sure.
And pick one out of
That's
there.
a good way to do it.
And I just recently started reading the Expanse series by James S.A. Corey, and I ran through the first 3 of those in like the last 2 or 3 weeks or so, whereas they took a little bit to get started, but once they started going, it was just like boom, 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 boom. But I had a thought about this, and I don't know, it kind of depends on how you feel about it. I think that I read way more now that I have a Kindle.
Okay.
Because it's one device that's light and easy to pick up. It's thinner than a book. I can slide it in my pocket. I can bring it to the bar. And the other nice thing about it is that it's fast, it's easy to read, and when I'm done with it, I can just go right onto the store and buy another book and download it in like 1 second and just start reading. Like when I get to the end of one book, I don't have to go back to the bookstore to buy the next one in that series.
See, I like having physical copies.
Yeah.
I like being able to see how far I am into the series very easily. And again, I kind of like collecting books.
Yep.
I guess that kind of falls into the comic book thing. But yeah, it also depends on what genre you're into. Like, I devoured the first 3 books of Blood by Clive Barker.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing I read from him was The Great and Secret Show, which is kind of a mystical fantasy book. It's horrific, but not really a horror book. And I was kind of having some trouble getting through that. I read like 150 pages into it and then just kind of drifted away from it.
Yeah.
So it really depends. But I guess prose is like food or like anything else. It's like you eat as much as you like, but if you don't like it, don't keep eating it. Don't force yourself to get through something.
The other thing is sometimes, I feel like when I really want to get into a book, I like to wait for a rainy Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
When there's nobody else around, and I've seen all the shit that I wanted to see, and I played the games, and I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to lay on the couch and read my book for 6 hours,
right?
And find a book that you're real into. So I think that, like, if you're saying, Fire in the Hole by Elmore Leonard's crime book, like, if you're into that, crime mystery type of stuff, maybe go look at a list of the best Elmore Leonard books out there and start at the top and start working your way down, or go look at stuff that's in that same genre that is much beloved, like the Maltese Falcon,
Dashiell Hammett
kind of stuff, right? Yeah. And try some of that,
yeah.
Because when you do, I feel like when you do hit something that's good, it's going to hook you, and then you're going to be like, I can't stop reading this.
Yeah.
So, all right, we got a couple more questions here. This next one comes in from Hakal, who says, Dear Jeff and Jason, I'm a regular listener of several Austin-based podcasts, and I noticed that you guys often make references to hipsters. However, it seems to me that most of you can't stand them for some reason. I'm just curious, what's the big deal about hipsters? In Singapore, which is where I'm from, hipsters are nothing more than people who wear oversized glasses, sweater vests, and skinny jeans. However, it would appear that hipsters are something else entirely in Austin. So what's with all the hate? Thanks for reading my email, and great job with the site. Regards, Hakal. Hakal, I think.
Yeah, well, the use of the word hipster, we abuse it. We misuse it sometimes.
We abuse everything.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's very vague, and I don't really. A lot of people say, "Well, what does that even mean anymore?" And that's a good question. I don't know. I mean, what I usually apply it to, and sometimes I misapply it, of course, but it's people who just go out of their way to dress strangely, like what was a hipster now is not a hipster a year ago.
Sure.
But like now in Austin, you see a lot of like Daisy Dukes and tank tops on men.
Yeah.
And oversized glasses, and then they wear, like some like garishly colored shoes or something like that. The main thing about hipsters for me that I don't like is their sneering disdain.
That's directly it. And I think that we had this conversation where we were talking about this when we talked about Infamous Second Son, where people are like, oh, leave him alone, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, the main character in there, Delson, like, that guy is in every bar that I go to in Austin, and he's a shit. He's a little shit.
Yeah.
You try to talk to that guy about, like, House of Cards and be like, oh, I don't have internet access. That's what I just read books.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why you would want to pollute your brain
right.
with all the ads on the internet.
Yeah.
It's like, did you ever see there was a sketch on Portlandia where Fred Armistead was like this guy with this really kind of gross long like goatee, and every time that he would be doing stuff, and then he would see this other guy, and anytime he saw this guy, the guy was doing like the same thing that he was. He'd be like riding his bike, and he'd see this other guy riding his bike, and so he'd just get off his bike, he'd throw it in the middle of the street, and be like, "Bikes are over," and then walk away from him.
Yeah. So Allison, years ago, she told me about a date that she went on with this guy.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, "Oh, do you read a lot?" She's like, "Yeah, I read a lot." He's like, "What do you read?" She's like, "Well, I like a lot of Terry Pratchett."
Right.
I like Terry Pratchett a lot. And he's like, and he kind of rolls his eyes, and she's like, "What do you read?" He goes, "I only read books that were printed before 1846."
Exactly.
That's a fucking hipster.
And if you're listening to this, if you can't hear how shitty that sounds, what I want you to do is
kill yourself.
Well, I want you to imagine if you don't think that there sounds like anything shitty about that, then we're not talking to you. But if you do, imagine that attitude, and now imagine that like a good solid third of the people in the town that you live in are that guy.
Yeah.
that they're all like that. Like, I only eat from food trucks because the additives at fast food restaurants are really bad for you.
Right.
You shouldn't do that. It's going to really shorten your life.
Here's an example, and this is one that I had years ago, and I've never really talked about this.
Yeah.
I don't think I've told anybody about this.
Oh,
actually.
shit. Secret Jason lore.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's not that bad, but years ago, pre-spill in the days of The Real Deal, I was there to watch The Real Deal, and I was there with Brushwood because we used to go do that all the time.
Right.
And I was sitting there, and there was this guy there, and he was like a friend of Corey's. He was this wee little man, and somehow the topic of conversation came up about the Beastie Boys, and he just said he knows everything about the Beastie Boys.
Right.
And I was like, oh, well, did you know? And I was just making conversation. I was like, did you know that the Beastie Boys used to be a punk band?
Yeah.
Like, before they made it big. And he just looks at me and he just kind of sneers, like narrows his eyes, like, yeah, everybody knew that. And I'm like, he's like, everybody knows that. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I thought we were having a conversation about the Beastie Boys. And he just kind of shook his head and was like, yeah, everybody knows that, dude.
Yeah.
And Brian Brushwood goes, I didn't know that. And I'm like, he didn't know that. And he just shakes his head like, everybody knows that. That has stuck with me for like 12 years.
Yeah.
If I see that guy again, I'm going to beat the shit out of him.
It's that
I'm going to kick his ass.
I tell you what,
while I'm singing what you want.
And I got to say that on this particular topic, that attitude exists in people who wouldn't be classified as hipsters. It's that attitude.
Yeah.
When I say hipster, it's because that, at least when it started out, was the embodiment of that condescending fucking attitude.
Yeah.
If you're going to be a condescending fucking prick, fuck you.
And if you're wearing glasses that don't have a prescription,
I didn't even know that for years.
I'm going to kill you.
And then I was
I'm going to fucking kill you.
They're wearing
I'm
it
gonna
as
murder you in the street.
They're wearing it as a fashion statement. I'm like, fuck you. I got beat up for wearing glasses when I was in grade school. Assholes. Anyway.
I will murder you in the street. I will kill you, and then I will urinate on your fucking corpse.
So, there you go. Why don't Jeff and Jason like hipsters? But I understand that now it's become a catch-all for
it is.
It's like saying fuck face right now. Is that you're just
hipster.
Everything's a hipster.
Right.
It's blah blah blah.
My boss called me a hipster the other day.
We're both obviously hipsters in our own right.
Yeah.
I mean, like you know, your jeans were one size smaller. You're wearing a faded Kingpin from Marvel Comics T-shirt.
I know, right? It's like, no, I
drink
really...
a Jameson. If I could get you a PBR to go next to your Jameson.
Dude, I would drink a PBR because it's fucking cheap.
All right. We got one more big one more small one. And now that I got you all riled up, this one is from Joe. Joe says, hello, you crazy SOBs. I have an assignment that is driving me crazy, and I'd like to hear what you guys have to say about it. It is about the subject of should artists censor themselves or their art? Now, my teacher couldn't have picked something easy like should the statue of David have his wang out and about or not, but of those people that do gross or weird shit in the name of art, such as skinning a cat on video in the name of art, or art that dangerously gets into the direction of pornography, such as Andy Warhol's film Blowjob, or God help you, the work of Istvan Kantor. Do you know who that is?
I don't know who that is.
All right. We'll Google it while you're talking. Personally, if you were to put a gun to my head and say, should all art be clean and non-offensive, I would have to say no. It all comes down to the quote that sums this up. You are not wrong, Walter. You're just an asshole.
Yes.
Thanks, Jeff and Jason. This show makes my week.
Yes. Yes, Joe, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think that this comes back to the thing that we've talked about from time to time that is, you know, or maybe it's something that I've been thinking about recently. You don't have a right to not be offended by anything in this world. Like, there's going to be plenty of shit that's offensive. And actually, when you look at a lot of, well, I don't know. I personally think that when you look at a lot of art history, there were a lot of people that were making things that were considered like on the fringe or on the edge that eventually they're experimenting out there. And then the stuff that catches gets brought back into mainstream art. I mean, performance art, you look up, what's her name? The one that stared at people in the New York Museum.
Oh,
that was her whole thing.
Right. Yeah.
She had one art installation where she was underneath she got in the floor and then just masturbated in there.
Yeah.
And people would walk through the room, and I'm like, well, that doesn't really make very much sense to me. But
yeah, I have to side with Joe in that, you know, I don't really know what art is. If you're trying to make art, then sure, it's art.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's good.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you may be making art, but you're still an asshole.
I'm going to say
you may be making art, but it's still shit.
I'm very anti-censorship. So just
yes, absolutely.
Don't censor yourself.
Absolutely.
If you can find somebody that's into what you're doing, to go ahead and do it.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
By the way,
art is, as Allison often says, art is society thinking about itself.
Okay, so I got this. I looked up this Istvan Cantor guy.
Yeah, maybe we're missing something. He's just some weird looking dude.
Doesn't he kind of look like really old Brian Brushwood? Like he's got this Jaws grill and stuff, but like in pictures, like this right here, like he looks like
it's Brushwood, yeah.
yeah. So I say I'm gonna make one caveat. Skinning a live cat as art, I don't really think.
You know what? That's art.
I don't think you should.
Sure, if you're doing it for art, then fine, it's art.
I don't think you should be able to. I don't think you should do that.
I think you need to get skinned alive after you do that.
Oh,
but I'm not saying it's not art.
Yeah.
But if you're doing that, then you're probably a fucking shithead sociopath monster who needs to be put down. And this is coming from a guy who is allergic to and doesn't really care for cats all that much.
Yeah.
But if you're skinning a live cat, fuck you.
Yeah.
Fine, it's art, but I get to beat your ass afterwards.
Let's say it's art, and then when you're done doing it, we're going to
put you in jail.
Put you in jail, right?
Yeah.
So have fun. That's cool. All right, we got one last short question, and then we'll be done. I'm still trying to figure out this Istvan Cantor guy. This one is from Howard, and Howard says, "Howdy, motherfuckers, fantastic, Mr. Mac, sending in a question. Who would win in a fight between Gary Marzipan, Loco Steve, Dongacles, Loretta, and Robo Satan? Praise be to the beard of the Almighty Murph."
Damn, that's tough. I'm going to go with Dongacles because Dongacles is a deity.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think, but I don't know. Dongacles is more of a nebulous faith. It's a collection of.
That is a good point.
Well, I guess we don't have like. I almost feel like Gary Marzipan might be the avatar of Dongacles.
I think you may be right.
Like the Jesus for
if we're striking Dongacles out of the equation,
yeah,
Gary Marzipan.
Gary Marzipan every time. Yeah, I gotta say, Gary Marzipan probably wins in that fight. I think that Robot Satan might be the hardest of those fights because what's Loco Steve gonna do? He's gonna say ding dong, and then Gary Marzipan's gonna like.
Shoot him.
Yeah.
Loco Steve is getting shot.
Loretta's going to say something sexual, and then she's going to shoot her.
Yeah.
Nobody else here really carries a gun. I guess Loretta carries a dubstep gun.
As Loretta's dying, she would be like, "Gary Marzipan, would you fuck me while I'm still warm?"
God damn. God damn. So there you go. Probably Gary Marzipan, maybe Dongacles, depending on the specifics.
Yeah, depending on what your faith is.
Yep. All right, folks. Well, we're done. We're out of questions. We're out of news. We're out of time. Yeah. So, folks, we need your questions to keep this show going, and you can send them to mail@rageselect.com. Is mail@rageselect.com. So, yeah, I think that's about it. Let's can we go get that Taco Bell now, or do you want to do it later?
Actually, I think I'm going to do Wiener Schnitzel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because you hate life.
Yeah. Because I want to shit fire.
That's performance art right there.
There you go.